This is exactly why you never want your CPA deciding A, whether you should set up an LLC in the first place, or B, how many properties or assets you should be setting up in each LLC. You see, most people think that CPA stands for Certified Public Accountant. No. It actually stands for Can't Protect Assets. I'm kidding, of course, not really. Some of my best friends are actually CPAs, and we love all of our CPA friends, especially our fellow McElroy.com tax advisor, Eric Freeman. But seriously, this is what one of our subscribers asked. I currently have 2 single-family home rentals. One is in my LLC. I hope to purchase another property by the end of the year. My accountant says if you're a good landlord, you don't need an LLC for each property and it's fewer bank accounts, etc. But my legal advisor says the opposite. Thoughts on whether to get an LLC and accounts for each property? Great question. So here's a schematic of what it looks like. He's got one property that's owned by an LLC that is then owned by him. He's got another property that he owns personally, and then he's got a future property that he's intending to buy. Now, on this particular property, if something were to happen in that property, then the LLC is going to be legally responsible, not the individual. So only what's inside this LLC is actually exposed, meaning the equity in this house for sure is exposed, and any bank account or anything else that the LLC owns, that's what's fair game to a creditor. They cannot reach any of the personal assets of the individual, including the other property. So that's why having an LLC is great. The other property that he owns directly has numerous issues. Number one, if something were to happen to this property, the responsible party is the individual, and there is unlimited exposure, meaning even if this property only has $10,000 or $20,000 in equity, if there's a judgment for $1 million or $2 million, that judgment goes against the individual. It doesn't matter that the property only has $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. And so there's going to be a judgment for that larger amount. And remember, you can attach anything that this person owns, so they can go after your other properties, your other assets, your other bank account, and more importantly, any future earnings that you will have. So if you have a W-2 job or you have income, I can go after that income this year, next year, 10 years from now. So that's the main reason why we don't want to have you individually own the property directly. So the question becomes, do I want to put each of these properties into their own LLCs, or do I want to put these properties inside the already existing LLC, which I think is really the question that the subscriber was asking? I can tell you one thing though, whether you're a good landlord or not has no bearing as to which structure you should go with, okay? You can be the best landlord in the world, but this is the most litigious country in the world, and no matter how good of a landlord you are, there's a really good chance you are going to get sued one day in the future, whether it's your fault or not. In a perfect world, from an asset protection standpoint, I would love to see every single property in their own LLC. And each property should have their own EIN, employer identification number, for you to go open a bank account. And each of these LLCs should have their own bank account. What you're trying to do is establish that these are independent entities separate from yourself. And a really easy way to do that is to have separate EINs and separate bank accounts. I do understand that from a financial standpoint, this may not make sense. Obviously, it costs money to go set up the LLC, to get a registered agent, to maintain these LLCs on an annual and ongoing basis. So at some point, it may be costing you $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to maintain this structure. And if your properties are not cash flowing that much, I understand that from a financial situation, it may not make total sense. One of the options you do have is to put these 2 properties into the existing LLC you have, and the future property into the existing LLC you have. What you just need to understand is that if something were to happen to one of your properties, remember we said earlier, that LLC is responsible, and anything inside that LLC is fair game. And in this new scenario, we're going to have all 3 properties in that same LLC, which means that all 3 properties are going to be exposed to each other. Now, that may not be the end of the world. That's really an individual decision. It really depends more on how much equity is in each property. But just understand that if everything is in one LLC, if something happens to property number 1, a slip and fall, a boiler explodes, asbestos, you name it, then there's a judgment against the LLC. They will be able to go after the equity of your second, third, and fourth property.